If me reading my notes out of this absolutely demolished journal isn't telling you something about a no-buy year, if it's not comedy, I don't know what is. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the channel. Welcome back to the channel. On this fated day, we are going to be talking about my no-buy year. Wow. Can't believe I did that, for one thing. Can't believe we did that. If you're here for the first time and you just want to learn a little bit more about a no-buy year, I definitely will be talking a bit more about that. Hi, my name is Grace. On this channel, I kind of talk about just like intentional living and kind of like anti-consumerism stuff, just like trying to get the best out of life, and that for me really includes being intentional about what I'm bringing into my life, what I'm consuming, and what I'm buying. So I did a no-buy year last year. For those of you who don't necessarily fully understand the concept of a no-buy year, it kind of shows up in a lot of different ways and you can use it however you see fit. For me, I did a no-buy of things. So in general, I tried to spend essentially no money on physical objects last year. And besides a couple of very specific exceptions that I had for a backpacking trip that I had planned, I did that. I did it. I didn't spend any money on things and I still acquired quite a few items. But yeah, you can still have a very fruitful no-buy experience without spending money, and you can still acquire things plenty easy. And before I keep blabbering on, today in this video, I'm going to be talking about some of the lessons that I learned during my no-buy year and advice for anyone that is maybe thinking of trying one this year or is just started one, and for anyone who maybe fell off the wagon last year, got discouraged, wants to try again, or someone that's just trying it for the first time and wants to learn a little bit about it. So like I said, the no-buy is kind of different for everyone. I was starting out as a minimalist, so I didn't really have that many things to begin with, so I had quite a few more rules and exceptions, I would say, and a lot of people got really upset about that, but you know, that's my business, not theirs. I decided to share my experience doing this no-buy year with these exceptions and rules and things, just to show that all of the things and thoughts that you're going through are very normal and to be expected. So if you want to go back and watch my videos of me going through that in real time, almost like vlogging my experience and me thinking through things and like having these experiences as the year goes on, then feel free to check out the playlist of all of my no-buy videos, including the video that I kind of explain how I'm setting it all up and doing it. A little bit of a TLDR or TLDW. I created a red light, yellow light, and green light list of things that I was absolutely not allowed to buy, things that were okay with a bit of thought or time spent between thinking of it and purchasing or obtaining the item in some way, and then the list of things that were completely okay no matter what. I would definitely suggest making those lists and doing all those things, having a strong reason why you're going to do a no-buy challenge. Besides that, I kind of just want to get into talking about what I learned from this experience. Throughout this no-buy experience, there was a lot of feelings. I think the reason why I started it was because I really wanted to get away from the overconsumption culture that we have, particularly here in the United States, because I just knew that it wasn't serving me. I had done kind of an unofficial low buy year in 2023 because I was very much focused on my minimalism and not buying or bringing in very many things into my home. But when I did the math at the end of the year, I found out that I had spent $2,000 on things that during last year's no buy year challenge were all on my red light list, which is pretty wild when you think about it. I spent $0 on things on my red light list. Well, technically, I think I broke the rules like 3 times. I accidentally had a book that was pre-ordered and it charged me in January or something. So that was a fail right off the bat, but you know, it happens. And then I ended up buying a wool shirt for my camping trip, which was not necessarily in the plans. However, do not regret it, because otherwise I would have been miserable on that trip. And then the backpacking bag, I never particularly made any rules about it, but I knew that I was going to be buying it. I think I classed it as a yellow light purchase, but anyways, definitely spent a lot less than $2,000 on those just 3 things. But also I probably couldn't tell you more than one thing that I got in that $2,000. I think one of those things was my Kindle, and that was probably the one worthwhile purchase that I made. Anyways, I was keeping track of all the purchases that I made. I allowed travel because I live very far away from my family and need to travel to see them. We had a couple of trips planned. I knew that I was going to be budgeting for them, so that's slightly different than some other people, but I also know that a lot of people are saving up and doing a no-buy so that they can travel. And I think that that's something that definitely helped the fact that I was able to travel without going further into debt, which is something that I used to do in college. So again, take the no-buy and do with it what you will. Make sure that it fits your goals and your lifestyle needs. For me, I am financially comfortable enough that I could spend some money traveling. I also definitely did get help from my family for some of these trips to see them because they really wanted me to go see them. So that's another aspect that definitely helped the situation. And I just wanted to be very transparent about that fact. So with all that being said, and also the fact that my rent in New York is not what you would normally see in terms of how expensive it is, and also I split the cost. This is my official pie chart for the entire year. I haven't actually created it right now in this very moment that I'm filming, so I'm not really going to talk about it because I don't know what it actually looks like. But here it is. Here's the facts, here's the data. There you go. If you want to know a little bit more about my actual thoughts on that, then you can feel free to subscribe to my monthly check-in email, where I'm going to be doing a bit of a full year wrap-up of the No Buy Challenge. In my email that I'm going to send out on February 1st, I send out a monthly kind of check-in wrap-up every month on the 1st. I don't 100% know what I'm going to be talking about this coming year, so if you have any ideas for that, things that you want to hear about, things that you want to see, then feel free to leave that in the comments. But anyways, let's actually get into the video for what you guys wanted to hear and see, which are the lessons that I learned from this challenge. I feel like a lot of these are pretty run-of-the-mill experiences if you've done a no-buy year or some kind of challenge to remove yourself from the impulse of immediately shopping and putting it in your cart and buying it sort of thing. I feel like this also goes hand in hand with the kind of minimalist vibes that I've been cultivating for the past year or two or so, a little bit more than that, and also the environmentalist ideals that I've held since high school. So let's talk about it. So the first thing that I learned is that buying things will not make you happy, because it is a very temporary, short spurt of dopamine that goes away so quickly. And the thing that kind of ties into that, the second thing, is that the less often you do something, the more meaningful it actually becomes. So if you go book shopping all the time and get 5 books every time you go book shopping, which is once a month or whatever amount of times that you go book shopping. First of all, I have literally no idea how you afford that. Second of all, as I always say, the library exists. And third, I feel like it's just less special that way. I'm just as excited about books as the next person is, if not more. But I have felt such a thrilling joy being able to read so many books that I love and not having to spend $1 on them. This whole year, it's felt so meaningful to me that I literally spent $0 on books. I did get some money sent to me by my aunt, and I spent some of that money on books, but she gave me that money for my birthday and specifically was buy yourself something nice because I know you haven't bought anything all year, blah, blah, blah. So I bought 2 books with that money and then put the rest in savings. So I don't know if that counts or not. I decided not to count it because it was 2 books that I'd been thinking of getting for a very, very, very long time. But anyways, that's side note. I truly cannot explain to you how special it felt to go get those 2 books last year, because the less often you do it, the more valuable the experience becomes. It becomes more special. I went into that bookstore and I bought those 2 books and I felt like I was holding pure gold in my hands. I was so excited. It felt so special. So yeah, buying shit will not make you happy, but the sense of fulfillment you get from repairing the things you already own or finding a way to get something for free from your community, unmatched. You feel like you're hacking the game or something. Another thing that I learned, kind of going off what I just said about like hacking the game, is that you can make do. Like, really honestly and truly, my least favorite phrase, actually makes me throw up in my mouth every time I see it online, is Amazon must-haves. I do not need anything from Amazon. In fact, no. A lot of the time you can make do. You can either figure out a creative solution, fix something you already have, use something you already have, borrow something or get something hand-me-down from someone you know, or ask your Buy Nothing group if that's an accessible option to you. Obviously, there are definitely caveats for like disabled people or people that are very, very, very rural or need a certain something. One thing that I asked myself at the very beginning of my minimalism journey was, does not having this item make my life more difficult? And I think that was one of the things that was really a huge guiding principle for me throughout my no-buy year. Because if I was like, oh, it would be really nice if I blah, 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 fill in the blank. But then I would wait a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, nothing would happen. The life from my body did not drain away. The world didn't explode. Nothing happened. Everything was fine. So like, if something feels really, really, really urgent to you, you can either figure out a creative solution or just wait a bit and see if it actually still matters in a week. Another point that kind of goes right into that is that the no-buy will provide. Like, if you need something, truly need it or want it or whatever, if you just like look around for a minute, see if you can find it between your friends and family, like ask around, go on your Buy Nothing group, whatever. Look on the corners of your street, whatever. Sometimes things will pop up and you will not be expecting it. I got into crochet this year and I was like, hey, community, does anyone have any spare yarn, whatever. I asked around my friends, coworkers, whatever. I got a ton of crochet hooks, a ton of knitting needles, and a ginormous tote bag full of yarn, completely free. I have made so many cute little things this year, and guess how much money I've spent on my hobby so far? A big fat $0. I'm just saying, sometimes you can be a little creative with how you source your things that you need or want. Again, going off of that point, time really does heal most wounds and wants. I think, like I said before, if you wait a week or 2 or something for something that you feel like you really want or need or whatever, I can bet you that if you write those things down and come back to them a week or 2 or 3 or even a month later, you're gonna be like, why did I care so much about this? Like, why was it such a big deal? And then guess what? Your brain starts telling you, if you don't get things that you want immediately, everything is okay. And then your brain starts rewiring itself. That's what mine did this year. And I have to say, it has been the best part of this entire year. I think the biggest, most important lesson that I had learned this year is that it has truly removed the urgency of buying things immediately. I no longer have the desire or the intense feeling of, I want it, I need it, I'm buying it. That was like 1 millisecond of thought in my head. Like a year or 2 ago, I was like, oh, I really want this. Let me look it up online. Okay, I'm gonna buy it immediately. Like, it wasn't even like, I didn't even breathe in between the time that I had a thought of wanting something and then purchasing it. And then guess what? I had thousands of dollars in credit card debt. Oh, where did that happen? Babe, your impulse control needs some work. So that's what this year did. It really rewired my brain. Like, there's a couple of things that I don't want to say I need, because my life is fine without them at this current moment, but it would make my life a little bit easier if I had them. You know, it would protect some of the items that I already own. Like I need a new iPad case currently because I just sold my current one, but guess what? Life will go on. The world will still continue to turn if I don't have an iPad case right freaking now. So I'm just sitting on it. I'm like not worried about it. In a way, it has, I don't want to say it's made me scared to spend money doing the no buy year, but it a little bit has. But maybe that's a good thing. You know what I mean? Like I'm so incredibly over all of these big companies taking all of our money and then doing nothing in return except treating their workers like shit and destroying the environment. Not a fan, truly not a fan of that. So why am I going to give them my hard-earned money for things that are going to clutter up my house and not improve my quality of life? It's really that simple at the end of the day. It's not worth spending your money on things that don't actually matter. So I would really say that like doing a no buy challenge, I know it's valuable and good to not be so freaked out about it when you're going into things and like having some exceptions for things that you genuinely do need. But I would really say doing the full no buy or having your automatic answer be no and then allowing yourself to think about things or wait before purchasing is something that will be so incredibly valuable to your brain chemistry, and telling yourself that just because you want something doesn't mean you need to have it and then everything will be okay. That's the thing that really was cemented into my mind this year of like, you want it, you didn't get it, and everything is fine. Like there are no consequences. Your life isn't worse because you don't have this thing. Everything is actually okay. And I was like, oh, well, that's really nice because I don't have to be in debt anymore. Like I don't have to be shackled to this idea of consumerism anymore. And I think that is the biggest thing that I took away from this year. And kind of going off of that, I would like to offer you some advice and things that I would do maybe differently or things that I wish that I had in mind when I first started this no buy year. I would like to impart my 1 year of knowledge onto you if you are just getting started in a no buy year or you're interested in trying one or even just doing a low buy sort of situation or a slow buy. I have some advice, things that I learned from this past year. Obviously, like I say in most of my videos, and if you've been here the whole year, then you know what I'm about to say, but having a really strong why and a really strong list are two things that are just gonna do you so well for the no buy challenge or no buy, slow buy, whatever. I obviously have a whole video explaining all the reasons why I think you should do all these things to prep for your no buy, but like having a really solid reason as to why you are saving money or not spending money or whatever, and then having a really strong list of things that you have thought up that really kind of target your issue areas potentially is so important for a successful challenge, because otherwise you're kind of just flying blind and it's not going to have the same emotional impact that you want it to have. Kind of going off of that, the tough love that not a lot of people are going to be saying during a no buy challenge is that I would almost suggest making the rules like an actual challenge to you. If it starts really overwhelming you, obviously you can change things as you go. It's not like you're writing it in stone, tattooing it in blood on your arm, you know what I mean? Like things can shift around. But like if you have a really bad problem of buying books, for example. I'm just gonna use that as an example because it was something that I had a problem with. I would highly recommend that you do not allow yourself to buy any books. Not like, if I really like a series and then I can la la la. I told you this is gonna be some tough love right now. You don't need them. Go to the library or borrow it or whatever. Like your life's not gonna collapse if you don't have that final book of a series on the shelf. Just wait. Or ask for it for your birthday. Like, put it off. Everything's gonna be okay. I read a lot of really good books this year, a couple of which I would love to own a physical copy of. The world didn't stop turning because I didn't immediately buy that book and put it on my shelf. You know what I mean? Like, I promise if you have a really bad issue with something like clothes or shoes or books or craft supplies or whatever, and you have a huge stash or you have like a lot of things to work with, I really challenge you to not make exceptions in those categories because you will still be enabling yourself. I read like almost 70 books this past year and I didn't spend a single dollar of my own money on books. Besides those 2 that I got for my birthday as presents, I also told myself that I wouldn't buy any clothes. Besides that one shirt that I got for a specific camping trip, I didn't buy a single dollar worth of clothes and still somehow got more clothes because the No Buy will provide. What I'm trying to say is, if you have a problem, I really suggest making your rules accordingly and really seeing if you can avoid making exceptions for yourself because it will only do you a service at the end of the day. With that being said though, be really nice to yourself. Because a no buy or a low buy challenge, especially if you're like really coming off of a shopping addiction or like major impulse control issues, it's not gonna be easy. And if you fail, don't give up. Seriously, just keep going. There are so many times that I was like, oh God, like this feels so stupid because I'm traveling so much this year. Like I don't even feel like it's worth it to document everything that's going on. Maybe I should just start over next year. Like this was so dumb, blah, 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 whatever. Who cares? You're doing your no buy challenge for you. And if you mess up a couple of times, if you stumble, if you have a really bad week or month or whatever, and you maybe relapse into your shopping coping mechanism, guess what? Dust yourself off and keep going because the only person that you're hurting by continuing to shop and do all these things is yourself and maybe your family. And like, nobody deserves that. You need to keep going. Progress over perfection. If you stumble, if you mess up, if you do a couple of red light purchases, if you have a month where you just kind of black out and go off the rails, that's okay. The only thing you need to do is commit back to the promise that you set for yourself and keep going. The only way that you fail a no buy challenge is by stopping. You don't fail if you accidentally make a red light purchase or spend a little bit more money than you wanted to. Just don't give up. You gotta keep going. It doesn't matter how perfect your thing is. Any kind of progress is doing something good for you. My camera is telling me that it has 3 more minutes to record, so let me just wrap this up real quick. Even if you have to change the rules as you go, if things are like really not working for you, you need to tighten the rules a little bit or loosen the rules, your life situation changes, whatever, you can still make your challenge tailored for you. Even if it's a no buy of literally just one category, like, okay, I'm doing a wardrobe freeze this year, I'm not gonna buy any clothes. That's still a no buy challenge. You're still doing it. You know what I mean? Like, just get the ideas of what a no buy is supposed to be and throw them out the window. That's what I did when I started. A bunch of people on the internet told me that I was stupid, I wasn't doing it right, blah, 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 blah. Who cares, babe? Who fucking cares? I'm doing it for me. And guess what? I got out of debt. I saved a bunch of money. I did not have lifestyle inflation when my salary went up and I changed jobs, got a better job. You know what I mean? Like, we are doing this for ourselves. We are doing this for the betterment of our lives and our livelihood, okay? There's so many different reasons why people do these challenges. There's so many different reasons why someone would go and put the effort into this. And if you want or need connection, I have a Discord group that we talk about all this stuff all the time. If you need advice, that kind of stuff. In general, I'm just really proud of all of us for doing this. It's like bittersweet to say goodbye to the no buy year because I know that I'm gonna be carrying the lessons that I learned this year throughout my entire life. And I think that's the most special part about all of this, and the fact that I've gotten to connect with so many of you during this year as well. I just cannot thank you all enough from the bottom of my heart how supportive and kind you've been to me and yourselves and each other throughout this entire process. Would I recommend a no buy year to anyone? Absolutely 100%, 10 out of 10 would recommend to everyone that I know. So if you're thinking about doing it, I hope this video was helpful. If you have done it, if you just wanted to hear about the final thoughts of my experience doing it, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. And I guess until the next one, I'm sending you all my love because we are all just trying our best out here.